Good morning, everyone. Benjamin here. Just wanted to do a quick video. I don't do any videos really at all anymore, but this one's been rattling around in my brain for maybe a week or two. I just want to get it off my chest and talk about it. Um, I came across a movie clip. I haven't watched the series, but it's one of these Star Wars series. I know there's like a lot of spin-offs now of Star Wars movies or shows or TV shows, whatever. But anyway, there was one that was making the rounds on the internet that was really beautiful. And I'm an '80s baby, and so Star Wars is kind of a way of life. I mean, I guess since it came out, really, it's a kind of a way of life. But I remember growing up with it and being familiar with like kind of the story, the backstory, and things. And um, my father liked the movies as a kid when I was growing up. And everybody kind of played with the toys and talked about it when you're younger. Anyway, it's really interesting to see this story play out, at least from what I know of it. I don't follow it religiously, but there was a battle scene between, and this back and forth was really beautiful. That's what I'm getting at here, is this back and forth, and I think there's a lot to pull from it that I might have not have time for today. But there's a fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and we know the story in one of the prequels how Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader, right? And if you remember seeing that, and they have that battle on the forgive me, I don't know all the names of the places. Anyway, they have a battle, and Anakin Skywalker gets his legs cut off, and there's this really kind of heartfelt back and forth between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And then we know how that ends. Obi-Wan spares his life, but he leaves, and then the other guy makes him Darth Vader, right? And so my understanding is, in this battle that I saw the other day, they meet together again, and there's another battle, and Obi-Wan slices a piece of his helmet off, and so you can see inside of Darth Vader's helmet, and you can see Anakin Skywalker, this who used to be a child that Obi-Wan was an apprentice, helped him become a Jedi and all these things, and they were really like best friends, right? And so when the helmet splits open, and then you can see behind the mask who's inside there, and um, Obi-Wan makes this plea. He says, Anakin, like he sees his friend inside the helmet, Anakin, kind of the human behind the mask, the human behind the machine, the human face of somebody that he loves, that is shrouded in this, let's say, this evil outer exterior, right? And Anakin, and then Darth Vader replies, and he says, Anakin is gone. He says, I am what remains. I am what remains. And boy, there's a few little lines in there, but that was one of them where I myself have. It's interesting watching the show, because we remember when he was the sweet little kid, kind of like my little boy now. And then as he's an adult, and he just gets waylaid by life, right? And gets taken off of his path. And we know later on in the show that there's redemption, thank God, and he comes around, right? And when his son Luke Skywalker, what the original movies were about, there's a resurrection or a reemergence of the goodness of who he is or could be or was. Thank God for that, right? But when he says this I am what remains part, I myself can vouch for that oftentimes in life you become somebody that you don't want to be. You didn't mean to get there, but here you are. And even just battling and wrestling against my own demons, let's say, in the last few years, which has been a good, healthy process, I would say. Um, you used to be naive to how things were. And then you go through a process of a real grinding out that life gives you. And then you become something else, right? And so in the divorce community, they call this getting zeroed out, becoming zeroed out. Excuse me, where you think that your life is going to be one way, and this is how it's going to go, and this is the trajectory. And then you go through this divorce, it's a real death. And another beautiful thing about this dialogue, this back and forth between these two, is that the Obi-Wan, who really loves Anakin, loves him, um, apologizes to him. And he says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of it. And when you go through these types of baptisms by fire, as it were, when you get zeroed out and you think your life's going to be a way, or you think that the world actually is like this, and that's the plane that you see things on. And then when you get zeroed out, something happens usually, and you see that the world actually isn't the way that you perceived it. It doesn't operate that way, and it doesn't play however you thought you were playing at life, the game that is life, let's say, and the mode of being that you had gets absolutely wrecked, and you have a different awakening, as it were, and you realize your life is completely different now. And you start waking up to that reality, and this is where that I am what remains portion comes out. Because oftentimes, and it's not just like divorce or custody battles, and you don't get to see your kids every day, though that's a really big getting zeroed out. It's like you might get a terminal, if you're healthy and then you start getting sick, you go to the doctor, let's say, and they give you this insane reading of a new reality. You have this thing's, whatever it is, it could be like a cancer taking over your body, whatever it is, a loved one dies tragically and quickly, and so this person was in your life and now they're not. You get what I'm trying to say. There's a hard turn that you weren't ready for, and you thought this person would be around forever, or you thought you would be around forever, for that matter. It could be a loss of a job that you really love, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're downsizing or whatever it is, and you get let go. Something like this, right? And so this is those wake up periods, those zeroed out moments where your life changes, and maybe you're a little bit naive before, but then when you wake up to these new realities, this is where that I am what remains comes out. So there was this little boy in the show anyway, and sweet, innocent, and has this growing arc. And as you get older, we all get zeroed out in some way, shape, or form. And then I am what remains, this different person. And we long for the person that we were, that we used to be. And is that person even in there somewhere, right? The person that was younger, innocent, hopeful about the future, all these types of things, right? I'm going to have to cut this short and come back to this. But we'll stay on this track. I'll be back.